I'm Don Perata, and I'm here with Karen Bass. This morning we're talking about something that I believe we did here not too long ago, a year or so. We talked about taking Prop 84 and 1E money that has been approved by the voters in 2006 and using it to address the myriad number of problems that exist right now. As you know, the governor has recently said that we are in a state of drought, and I don't believe anybody has disputed that. The real question is, are there things that we can be doing now to help address that particular problem? The answer is yes, and we believe the bills today are to do just that. One will spend $814.5 million. I wish it were billion. That out of the two propositions that would help fix the delta, particularly the problem that we have with the reduced flow ordered by the judge because of the impact it was having on the fish population, help clean up aquifers in the state, particularly two in Southern California, San Fernando and San Gabriel, which together have a gallonage capacity that's greater than Lake Tahoe. But they are polluted, they need to be cleaned up, there are funds to do that. And then there are dollars available to help, and this is something that no real sane human being would want to spend much time talking about, but I'll mention it because I can't do anything more than mention it. I don't understand it. Integrated water management plans, that money that would give flexibility to local districts to better serve the interests and the needs that they have, particularly during this time of drought and high fire season. There's also money for to continue the study of surface storage. We've said before, we'll say again, that if in fact there is a beneficial effect, a net beneficial effect for over-the-ground storage, that that should be included as part of our long-range plan. However, we don't think they're mutually exclusive. You can spend this money now, and in fact, we told the voters, here's what we're going to do with the money if you give it to us. They gave us approval. We didn't say we're going to hold it hostage until we have a couple of dams built. If that comes, it will come in due time. We spend this money now. We continue to keep people employed on essential matters of high public policy. And Lord knows the way the construction industry is in California, putting another $800 million out there is something that we could do ourselves to help the economy. It's a massive public works project. We should be doing that. So we're going to be, this bill is in the Assembly water, and it will be heard. Karen will tell you when. But, and we've said to the governor, we want to put this back on your desk. We do not believe that the plan that the governor and Senator Feinstein have brought out this past week is inconsistent with this at all. All we have said there was, let's get this budget done so we know the kind of money that we have available to pay debt service on still additional bonds. But we're prepared to move forthrightly with the governor in cooperation with our Republican colleagues and the regions throughout the state to continue to move the water agenda of California, which arguably is the most important of all the infrastructure things that we have done and certainly is the most contentious. So with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Speaker Bass.
Good morning, everyone. As you can see represented here are several members of the Assembly, all to express, one, their concern about the situation with water in our state, but also their active involvement. One of my first acts as Speaker-elect was to travel to the Central Valley and meet with stakeholders there. Homes, businesses, and farms throughout the state are depending on us to put forward a responsible plan to address the state water needs. In November '06, as Senator Perata said, voters passed $9.5 billion in state bond funds to improve water quality, supply, reliability, restore the delta, and shore up flood protection. Since the passage of these bonds almost 2 years ago, more than 60% remains to be spent. Before anything else, the responsible course is to get those funds out the door and into real projects that will have a real impact on California's water supply. That's why the Senate and the Assembly are working together on a comprehensive expenditure package to use existing bond funds. Enacting this package is a responsible first step. Another important bill is AB 2175, authored by Assemblymember John Laird and Assemblymember Mike Feuer. This bill would establish water conservation as the cornerstone of water management in California. Specifically, it provides the framework to reduce water use per capita 20% by 2020. This target is consistent with the governor's water conservation directive. The bill also requires agricultural water users to implement best management practices that are cost-effective to achieve optimal water use efficiency. The Water, Parks, and Wildlife Committee and the Assembly will hear these bills very soon, and I think it just reinforces our commitment to address the severe problems with water in the state of California. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you all for being. Oh.
Senator, I have a question, actually on a different reason.
No kidding.
That has to do with oil. Today, as you know, President Bush is going to announce lifting the executive ban on offshore oil drilling. Very contentious issue, as you know, and I want to get a feel for what the Democrats here in the Capitol are thinking about offshore oil exploration.
Well, of all the things that we could be doing right now in the world to address ourselves to the problem of the high spikes in oil, the last thing I would do is drill off the coast. The last thing. I'm not terribly surprised that George Bush thought of that as the first thing, but it doesn't have any legs as far as I'm concerned.
And I would certainly agree with that. I think it's absolutely unacceptable to think that we would drill for oil off the coastlines of California. That just makes no sense whatsoever.
But you know, the polls are showing that more and more Americans and Californians are becoming supportive of the concept now that gas is at $4.50 a gallon.
I think what Californians are concerned about is the price of gas, frankly. And I think if it really came down to drilling for oil off of our shores, I would doubt that the polls would stay that way. I don't think it matters.
It doesn't matter. Well, all of our good point, nothing that we ever say matters at the federal level. I think that's been pretty clear. But as it relates to, there will be a huge amount of resistance. I'm assuming that there would be bipartisan resistance from the California delegation. I could be wrong, but I know that there are some Republican members of Congress who are in opposition to that as well.
And I think you heard the same from Florida. I can't imagine on either coast that that's going to be implemented.
There's nothing like getting you good on early on Monday morning, right?
On water, is it your belief that it should not be taken up as part of budget negotiations, that it should, the governor's plan, that should wait until after the budget is signed?
Yes, that is my view. It's not to say that we won't. I think we should get it done before we leave this place. I think we're close enough to do that. But we don't need still one other element to convolute the problem we're having right now with closing the budget. Let's get the budget finished, and then let's just move on. There are other things to do, and this is the top of the list.
But is this part of what's holding up the budget?
No, it's not part of what's holding up the budget. And, you know, as Senator Perata said, I think it's very important that we address the budget crisis that we're facing now and not put in other issues of public policy, be it water or be it several other areas. I think that in due time, we will address the water situation.
And a question on the water. You talked about this immediate relief, this immediate help that can go through some of the bond money that's been already approved. But down the road, long term, in terms of storage, do you see dams as being part of that picture, given the fact that California is gaining 500,000 people every year?
We've never in the Senate, we've never been opposed to dams as a solution in the context of everything else. But to say that everything should stop until we have an agreement that we're going to build 1 or 2 or 3 dams just didn't make any sense to us. We're also very sensitive to the fact that you need some way of allowing the implementation and the administration of water projects to move forward. And we're looking at the CTC model, which frankly has worked great for transportation. It's taken a lot of the politics out of the discussion. Once you say what the money's for, then you have people deciding what are the highest and best priorities for that.
I think it's very important that we have a comprehensive solution to the water crisis in California, and members of the Assembly will be meeting later on today to discuss the bond, to discuss what we're currently doing, and to make sure that this legislation moves forward, but we also take a look at the bigger picture as well.
And we'll be watching the home run derby, so we'll be busy, but we have our priorities too.
If these bills aren't signed, would that be a stumbling block? Because you said it's not inconsistent with the governor.
Yeah, I believe, without a doubt, that the governor, and I've told the governor that I think this would go far, not only with the parties of interest who are negotiating, have been negotiating about another bond, but with the voters. I mean, the best way to show the voters that we are responsible in what they give us as investment for the infrastructure is to spend what they said. And until we do that, I'd be a little sheepish to go back and just say, hey, we were kidding. This is really what we wanted.
Senator, speaking of the politics of it, are you telling the governor that until he signs these bills that you won't pick up the water bond and pass the water bond?
Does this strike you the way I would do business? I would tell the governor what to do. No. No. We had a candid conversation. It was not an either or. It was not your signature, your brains, nothing like that. No.
Do you still support the high-speed rail bond on November Valley, given the physical condition? I mean, do you think it makes sense to borrow $9 billion more right now? Something you want to move forward on?
I think there's many members of the Assembly caucus that are very involved in the high-speed rail bond, and we do see moving that forward.
I think the stock went up because of what's happening. I think people are taking another look right now at transportation other than car transportation. And if you look at least in the Bay Area, the ridership on transit has almost gone to saturation point, which is part of the reason that we don't like the idea of taking that money away. But I was skeptical, and I thought it might be difficult to pass this prior to what's happened of late. I think now it's probably, it is something that the voters will give a good look at.
Thank you.
Some folks are citing, with regard to the budget, inconsistency in saying that you don't want to balance it by cuts alone, and yet the budget that came out of conference spends more money than last year. So how is that actually cut?
Oh, there were a lot of cuts in this year's budget, and I think that we publicized those. We cut, over the last couple of years, we've cut more than $12 billion, and the budget that we put forward this year has over $4 billion in cuts.
Thank you all.